You're on episode 53 of the Business Made Easy podcast. How are we doing, Mia?
Fantastic. Thanks, Jason. You're on the Business Made Easy podcast, where we make business easy. Here's your host, Jason Skinner.
G'day, and welcome to the Business Made Easy podcast, where we make business easy. Jason Skinner, your host here for another week of the podcast, which is all about growing your business bottom line and giving you a better life as a result. We all want one of those, don't we? Hey, just less stress, more money in the bank account. That would be fantastic. Well, I'm going to help you do that today with our episode. It's just me again today. We're going to be talking about a really important topic in business. And hopefully it's something that you are already doing and want to improve. We're going to talk about that. If you're not doing it, I hope this episode encourages you to actually take action and start implementing what we're going to talk about today. But I won't spoil it just yet. Before I do, if you haven't joined our Facebook group yet, by all means, please go over and do that at businessmadeeasypodcast.com/community. That's businessmadeeasypodcast.com/community. And also, if you've been enjoying the show and you haven't yet done so, I'd love if you could give me a review over there on iTunes as well. That just helps us to get found and helps the show to grow, and helps me to keep bringing it to you each week too. But only if you're enjoying it and you're getting some value, of course. I don't want any sort of false reviews or anything like that. But certainly, if you have been and you haven't reviewed it yet, I'd love and really appreciate you doing that for me. Alrighty, let's get into today's show. And today I want to talk with you about systems and procedures. Now, systems and procedures are one of those things that always seem like a pain in the neck to do. They are often things we know we should be doing, but just never get around to doing them. But I want to ask you this question. Have you ever been frustrated in your business where you go, why have I got to be the one to do this? Why am I the only one that can do this properly? Or the other one that is quite common in business is, I can't get anyone else to do it like I do it. Or I can't, if I give it to someone else, by the time I explain it, it's quicker to do it myself. Now, I'm sure we are all guilty of that one. I know I am myself. And, you can just struggle to get a lack of consistency across the board in your business. It seems to get, it does actually, it doesn't seem to. It actually gets worse the bigger you grow as you sort of put on a new employee and you start and you train them and you spend days inducting them into the way you want things done within your business and showing them around and doing all these things to make sure that they can be as efficient and up and running and making your money as quickly as possible. Now, the problem with that is that if you don't have a system and process and checklists and things in place, if that person leaves, then you have to start and go through that whole process again. So there's one great argument for making sure you've got proper systems and procedures in place. The other one is, without proper systems and procedures, you will be continually chained to your business. You will find that you're going to be forever tearing your hair out, and the more and more people that you get, the more and more staff you get, the more and more room there is for error, the more customer complaints happen because things didn't happen the way they should happen. Staff become inefficient because they don't know what to do. They don't know, they might learn things by rote. They might learn things because they've done that task a million times the same way. But what happens when that procedure or that task actually changes, the circumstances around that change? And this goes on in business all the time. The more people you get, the more it just becomes inefficient, and then you feel like you need more people, and it goes around. It goes around. So systems and procedures are absolutely critical if you want to build a business that you can step away from and build a business that's not going to be consuming you and is delivering consistent, predictable results every single time. Now, Michael Gerber refers, I'm a big lover of this book, The E-Myth, and I'll put a link to this in the show notes, but Michael Gerber talks about this concept of the turnkey business, the turnkey revolution. And this is how a lot of franchises operate. I mean, if you look at McDonald's, it's a turnkey operation because McDonald's has successfully built a system that can get a 16-year-old child that parents can't get to make their bed or do anything around the house, even get out of bed, probably get off the computer games or anything like that. Parents struggle to get these children to do these simple tasks around the house, yet McDonald's can get them to turn up to work, wear their uniform with pride, and make a consistent hamburger and consistent products out of every one of their outlets all over the world. You've never seen a better system than something like that. I mean, this system has controls and check mechanisms, and right down to the nth degree. So it doesn't matter where you go and buy a McDonald's hamburger, it's going to be the same, and you're going to experience the same consistent service and product across the whole network. And this is I love the example of McDonald's because it if you think about it, if the Big Mac maker in the McDonald's doesn't turn up for work that day, McDonald's Big Macs still get made. They don't stop making Big Macs because the guy who puts the gherkins on hasn't turned up for work today. The gherkins still go on because there's a system that they're all following, and they're inducted into that system using the induction method system. So systems operate right through your whole business, right from your very first customer coming in the door, what the greeting procedure is, how you answer the phone within your business, what does the receptionist say when they answer the phone? How do you want the phone answered? How do you want this? What do you want the staff to do when they come into work of a morning? What machinery needs to be turned on? What machinery needs to be turned off? What needs to happen when the very first person comes into the office? And then what happens in the next step? And then what happens? So you're going to have all sorts of systems within your business. You're going to have human relations, HR systems and processes. And a system is not necessarily a big lengthy document or a big lengthy story or long verbiage, although they can be. But a system could be as simple as a checklist. I've seen them in hotels. I mean, you go to hotels and they quite often behind the door of the amenities have a checklist where the janitor has to sign off at different intervals that the toilets have been cleaned. So that's a system that they have to make sure that the toilets are cleaned. Where if you go to cafes and restaurants and things like that, they have a system to monitor the fridge temperatures so that the food stays at a consistent cold temperature and we don't get food poisoning and all those sorts of things. So a system can take many forms, but it really needs to be implemented. And you, as the business owner, have to be the driver of these systems. You have to be the one that actually sits down and maps all this out. You don't necessarily need to write them, but you need to make sure you're sort of the steward of them that is going to make sure that they all come together. Now, a lot of people write systems in manuals, like big lengthy books and things like that. I'll just say a couple of things around that. Firstly, with any systems and procedures that you write, you want to make sure that they are accessible by the people that need to access them. And by accessible, easy to find, easy to locate that system, so some sort of search or indexing type system, a location for them, central location, where that's the way. And I love this term, that's the way we do it here. And that when you're writing your systems, or you're talking to your staff about the systems, that's the way we do it here, and that's why we have this system in place or this procedure in place. So the other thing with the systems, writing them out in some people, I've seen them done before in sort of large tombs of printed out material in folders. The downside of having them written out like that is that your systems and processes, particularly in the current business environment with technology and things, will change rapidly. And it's very, very easy for those systems and processes and procedures to get out of date and out of whack, and then they become redundant. And then what you'll find is that the staff that were relying on them, now that they're out of date, stop. Oh, I won't go to that because it's out of date. I'll just do it this way, and you can start to get that creep into your business culture. So I personally prefer to have a more digital format of the procedures so that they're easily updatable. You can usually search and find them, and I'll give you some tools to help you do that shortly. It makes it a lot easier to find those procedures and update them. It's a good idea, I feel, to have somebody champion the procedures. So, for instance, I would, in our office, so we've got an accounting practice, and I would have the receptionist write the procedure or the first draft for the receptionist procedure, the tasks that she does, because that way she knows full well step by step what she does, etc. And I don't have to go and sort of try and know everyone's position to the nth degree. But what I want to do is sit and review that system and procedure with her and or them, and go through it with them so that I know and I'm checking that it is in line. All the steps are in line with the way I expect things to be done. And then once I'm happy with how all that's come together, then I would get a person who's not the receptionist to actually test that system. So they actually get to sit in that role and follow the procedures for a day or two and just really flesh it out. So they're for your more important ones. You always sort of what you want your first draft to be done. That's a good way to get so if you've got somebody who is responsible for cleaning the warehouse floor each day, get them to write down all the tasks that they do in a format, get it into an electronic document, review it with them, and then get somebody else to perform that task, or you go and walk through that system and procedure, and then you have that job description, and that's essentially what a job description is. But you have that procedure for that role within your organisation. The other thing when you're sorting out your procedures would be to have some form of broad categories. So you might have a HR procedure or HR procedure system. So that's everything about HR within the organisation, how employees apply for leave, what the process is if you're sick. We actually have in our practice an induction manual. So when a new employee starts, that's virtually the written procedure about all the ins and outs that they need to know about working for our company and what's expected of them, what's expected with social media policy, what's expected with email policy, what's expected if you're sick, social behaviour, antisocial behaviour, uniform policy. We have everything listed out in that procedure induction manual for a new employee. So, and we give it to them before they come to their new role, and then we sit with them on their very first day, and we say, "Have you been through the procedure? And did you understand?" I go through and get acknowledgement from them that they understand all the pertinent points, and then I have them sign a document at the end to say that they have read it thoroughly, they do understand everything in there, and there's no mistake whatsoever about how we expect our employees to behave and perform within our organisation. And that does a few things. It takes all the guesswork out for the new person, because starting a new job can be a really anxious time. You're worried about what you don't know and who you don't know and what's expected, etc. So, and you just sort of can feel it can add to the weight on your first day in terms of performance, and you want to do a good performance on your first day. So this book, this induction manual, takes all that guesswork out of the scenario, And you can do this whether you're, it doesn't matter what business you have. Even if you're an online business, you could have an induction manual for your virtual staff. This is the way we communicate. This is the way if you need leave. This is the way you apply for annual leave or sick leave or whatever if you can't make it to work or something goes wrong. This is the channel that you report it in. So that's just one system that we're talking about there. I know I heard the story one time around Disneyland and there was a, speaking of companies with great systems, these guys really, really do it well. There was a young guy was actually got a job at Disneyland and I think he was just sort of working in the ticket booth. And excuse me if I get some of these facts wrong, but circumstances wrong, but it's the concept that I want you to understand. But what this guy did, he went to work the very first day, and he came home, and his father said to him, "Well, how was your day today, Johnny?" And he said, "Oh, good. I learned all about Disney." And the father said, "Oh, that's great." And next time, the son went to work and came home, and the father asked him again, "What did you do today? Did you start selling your tickets?" He says, "No, I learned all about Disney." This went on for a number of days. It was quite a long time. And the father actually stopped him and said, "Listen, Johnny, how much about Disney do you have to learn? Aren't you just selling tickets at the thing?" And the little boy turned around and said, "Oh, no, Dad, this is Disney. Disney has a way about it. Disney has a way of selling, and I have to understand all about Disneyland in order to work there." And sort of highlights the depth that you can get to with procedures and systems and making sure that all your people are following the company culture and the way you want that company to perform. And the other, and I hope I haven't lost you with that story, but it's just, I remember hearing it, and it just highlighted to me just how you can get your culture and you can get your company to be so all working together and in unison in such a, even the largest of organisations through the help and use of these systems and processes, which is really important. Another story about the systems and processes that I love too, and it was actually it's in Michael Gerber's book, The E-Myth. He talks about this hotel that he went to, and this hotel was so systemised and procedurised that when he woke up, he only ever had to say something once, and it didn't matter how many times subsequent to that he would stay at that hotel, his same brand of coffee would be there waiting for him. His newspaper that he liked to read was the same newspaper every single time. Every personal detail about his experience with that hotel was exactly the same every time he returned to that hotel. Didn't matter who was working that day, it didn't matter who wasn't working that day, the same experience happened every single time. And I think we've all experienced this, where you go to a particular business or service and you go, "Wow, that was really great. They gave me a beer or a coffee when I turned up, and it was this." But then the next week you go and it's a totally different experience. Your hair, it might be a haircut. Your haircut's exactly the same, but the coffee or beer didn't come out, or you weren't asked like you were last time or whatever. And it just takes a shine off. It can just take a shine off the service. So systems and procedures are really, really important for ensuring that continuity of service standards. So that's sort of another system that you would have, is a customer service standard system. So this is the way we look after our customers. These are the systems and processes we have when we're delivering our product. If you're in a business that rents things out or anything like that, we make sure that when the item comes back, it's cleaned, it's checked for working order, everything is as it should be, in top quality, ready to go out again, and that would be a system, and you would have checklists in place that would actually map out, and people would sign off that they have fulfilled that role and they understand that role. So, you can get the idea that these, you can't get too granular with systems and processes. You really want them, to be thorough, because you want virtually, I always think, I want the most untrained person to be able to come and do this job. Now, technology's moved on a lot in the system space too. These I was talking before about not having them written and printed out, because it can be a bit sort of they get outdated really quickly, and then you end up with tombs of information that people don't want to follow. But another, what I've been using myself to create systems and processes, which I'm absolutely loving, is doing video recordings of performing that task. So a lot of what I do is on the computer and the digital space, so it makes it easier to do this. But you can just, with an iPhone, shoot video and show people how to do a particular task in your organisation. There's a program I'm using at the moment called Loom, and I'll put a link to it in the show notes. It's spelled Loom, Loom, and it's free, which is the right price. And what you can do with Loom is you can record your screen as you're performing or doing a demonstration of a particular task. So if I've got to show someone how to use a particular piece of software, then what I do is I just start up a Loom video. It's very, very simple. It just sits on your Chrome browser. I don't know that they have it for any other browsers. It just sits in the Chrome browser. I do know they're bringing out a desktop version, so you'll be able to record your desktop as well. But with Loom, you just click the Loom button on your browser, and a little camera your camera starts up and puts a little circle of you on the screen, plus it shows your screen. And you can talk and show people and record at the same time exactly the tasks and steps that you want them to follow. And then you once you hit the stop button, they basically give you a link, and you just plonk that link in an email or in your document. You can even just put the actual document in the link just in your procedure document. So your procedure might say, the next step is to do X, Y, and Z process. Click this link to see how to do that. So you click it and up comes your video. It's really, really good. Free, and it's visual, so it makes it easy, and there can be no mistake on how you want something completed within your business. Really great for office procedures and marketing procedures and all those sorts of things. A bit hard to do if you're on a physical factory floor type thing, but that's where you might have your iPhone to show people. You just get your iPhone, put it on a little tripod, and hit the record button on your phone. There is a little remote control you can get for your phone. It's like about the size of a coin, small coin, and it Bluetooths with your phone. So what you can actually do with that is you can push the button, and it'll create a really professional video for you. Pushes the stop and start button of your camera and creates a really professional video. And you can turn that into a procedure as well. So there's two resources there. You can use Loom, as I say, for screen recording things. Just use your iPhone with this little blue remote control. I'll put a link to the remote control that I'm talking about also in the show notes. It's really cool. Well, it wasn't much. I think it was like $40 or something like that. So we're not talking cheap stations. But yeah, great tools there to build out your systems. The other tool I'm loving at the moment is a tool called Asana, ASANA. I'll put a link in the show notes for you. But Asana is a great task management system. So you'll have systems and procedures on how to do things. And we want this step, want this done, and this is how you do it, etc. But then you want to make sure that things are being done, and that the person waiting on something to be done is informed that it's been done, and a central place that you can check that tasks are being performed, and quality control and all those sorts of things are happening. So Asana is a great way to build out your quality control system, and making sure that various steps are happening at particular times and tasks are happening by different people at particular times. Particularly nowadays with the sort of outsourced virtual world, the digital world that we work in. I know myself, we've got people in the Philippines and in India and Australia, all and America actually are all working on various parts of things that we do in our business. Now, we all need to be able to communicate together and know what's expected and know when particular tasks are being done. Take this podcast, for instance. There's a number of different steps that need to happen every single week, so all done by different people. So we use Asana, ASANA, and we can map out all the various steps in the processes, and we can actually add the hyperlinks to our of the actual procedure of how to do it, like the videos and things like that. We can add those links and procedures all in Asana at that task. So just to give you a little bit of a quick update, let's just say, for instance, we've got a procedure to, I don't know, well, let's say peel bananas. We've got a procedure that we want to peel bananas. I just saw a banana, so that's why I've used that, if you're wondering. Sorry about that. I've got the worst stories, I swear. Let's say we've got a procedure that one of the jobs is to peel bananas. Well, we might have a video which shows exactly how you want that banana peeled, where you want the skin to go, all those sorts of things. With that, I can put that link to that procedure and video in my Asana task, which might be titled Peel Bananas, and then I assign that to the various person that needs to do that, and we go from there. So Asana is a great tool for keeping track of procedures and systems. So we're doing. Another tool which I'm absolutely loving is just Google Sheets. Asana is free too, just before I get off Asana. Google Docs and Google Sheets. So that Google Docs is a free cloud-based word processor. The cloud-based ones are great because you can share and multiple people can work on the same document at the one time. So it does really make it easy to collaborate and keep your systems up to date. So you might just have a folder on your Google Drive, and you might have your very first procedure might be your HR system and procedures. So all those documents might go into that folder. Now, the beauty of using Google Drive and Google Docs and Sheets, etc., for your systems and procedures is that you can search. It has the same search functionality as standard Google does. So very, very easy to type a keyword in and bring up the particular document that you're looking for. So it makes it really, really easy and quick for people to find. In a factory situation, you might have iPads or computers around at your various stations in the organisation. You can have those procedures and documents easily brought up on a screen, and people can follow them and see what's going on. They can also bring up Asana and see what tasks they've got to do and those sorts of things. So there are plenty of purpose-built ones depending on your industry, but I'm just giving you the free ones that I know all work a treat. And if you're just starting in business, these work absolutely brilliantly. You don't need too much more than this. Asana has great communication services and things in it as well, so it's quite a really robust program, and it really is great. There is a paid version, but you really only need the free version to do the stuff that I'm talking about there. So there you have it. It's Google Sheets. That's a great tool. Asana and Loom for video. Another one that is really good for forms and filling in forms, and you may have forms and checklists that you want to have within your organisation. So you want people to complete these action steps and tick off or sign off that they do. Fillable PDFs. Adobe PDF Reader reads PDFs, but you can get the functionality to create your own forms, and they're not changeable by people. So they're great for if you've want something consistently done. That's a really awesome way to do that. So yeah, Adobe fillable forms are really good as well. So I hope it's sort of coming clear that the system really your systems and procedures need to be flexible yet robust. We want them to be updatable should changes occur, because changes occur in business all the time. I'm sure you'll agree. But we also want them to be rigid enough that people follow them. So a few ground rules that you do need to put in place, and I like to have these rules in place. Try and allocate one key person to be the system policy updater, and you liaise with that person. You don't want to be having all hands in the pie, creating and updating final procedures, because everybody has a different interpretation of and way of explaining things and wording. So you want some sort of consistency in them, some sort of consistency of system. I know in our organisation we've had to put rules in place because, how one person feels that a document should be filed, the banana peeling procedure might be filed under bananas, but someone else gets it and wants to file it under skins or fruit. So you want to have some consistency about your filing and documenting and indexing system is what I'll say there around that, because that can be really frustrating if people are just not putting things in the right spot. It's kind of like, why are we doing this? And you want to make sure that that I guess you build into your culture that to follow the system. So you've got to constantly, it's not enough to just have your system there and then when someone's been in the role for long enough, they just don't worry about the system, they just do their own thing. You really have to keep on to that and keep that culture of, this is the way we do it here. I just keep saying that, this is the way we do it here. And if someone asks a question, well, what's the procedure say? Well, there is no procedure. Right, well, let's write a procedure. Let's get a procedure. So you have to be bringing that language into your business all the time. It's not enough to just go, oh, yeah, Jason said we should have systems, so I'll do it for a week and then hopefully everyone just cottons on. It really is a discipline that you have to bring into the culture of your people. And I'll say this too, even if you're working on your own, let's say you don't have staff, still do systems and procedures, because you're going to have staff one day and you don't want to have to go and reinvent the wheel. So try and write a procedure and follow a system. And even if you've got all the forms and checklists and templates in place that you follow, at least that way when you do get staff, particularly outsourced staff, that you can easily just say, okay, let's work through it. This is how you do it. This is how we do it here. Remember that one. This is how we do it here. So that's another important point to remember as well. And the final point I'll leave you with is this: if you have to do something more than once, turn it into a procedure. So if I have to type a particular type of email more than once, I turn that paragraph. I have just a Google sheet with all the key paragraphs that I use, key messages that I use. So if I've got to write the same email several times, I'll just open that, have that document open, and I can just copy that, paste it in there, tidy it up a little bit and hit send. I don't have to go and retype the same email out every single time, or if it's a task or procedure, every single time typing out the same stuff. It's just a waste of time, and you're losing hours and hours a year just doing repetitive tasks. So keep that in mind. If you have to do it more than once, do it well, but turn it into a procedure so that you can leverage your time, get consistency across your brand and consistency with your customer service, and that is all that as well. So there you go, systems and procedures, systems in your business. I'll put the links to those programs to help you in the show notes. If you've got any feedback around systems and procedures or anything else in business, feel free to go over to the website at businessmadeeasypodcast.com, hit that red record button, and I'll be over there. So that's businessmadeeasypodcast.com. You'll see the little red record button over there. Ask a question and I'll get that, and I'll answer it on the show for you. And if I do, I'm going to send you a free Business Made Easy Too Easy t-shirt. So I'd love to hear your question. If you don't want to leave an audio question, you can certainly send me an email to jason@businessmadeeasypodcast.com, and I will answer any question that you have around your business to help you out there as well. Alrighty, that's it for this week. As I say, I hope you have a great week, and if there's anything I can help you with, just let me know. And until next week, I'm going to hand you over to Mia. Here's to your success. Have a great one, guys. Bye.
You've been listening to the Business Made Easy podcast, where we make business easy.